Thousands of years ago, there was a man in China that had a prized horse. And this horse was known far and wide as this sort of amazing specimen. And people around him thought he was very fortunate for having this horse. One day, the horse ran away, and the neighbors came to him and said, "We're very sorry for your misfortune. We feel bad for you." And the old man said, "Who's to say what's good or what's bad?" And the neighbors sort of left stunned. Okay, guy isn't really affected by this. Well, the next day the horse returns, and with it brings 9 other stallions, and they all run into his stables. And the neighbors see this, and they come to him and said, "Oh, we've got a feast for your great fortune. Gods have favored you," and all of these things. And the man said, "Who's to say what's good or what's bad?" And that evening, his son went out to try to break one of these stallions and hopped on its back and was thrown off and severely injured and broke his leg. And the neighbors saw this and came to him and said, we are so sorry for your great loss and misfortune. And the man stopped him and said, "Who's to say what is good and what is bad?" And the next morning, the king's army marched through town to conscript all the young men to take them to fight an unwinnable war across the sea. And they took one look at his son, and he couldn't go because he had been injured. And the lesson really to learn there is that who is to say what's good or what's bad? Many times in our lives, we are faced with situations and circumstances, and at the time we judge them very quickly based upon their merit at that moment in time. Maybe you win the lottery, or you land a big customer, or you've finally got that contract in place with Walmart, or whatever that thing might be. And you want to celebrate, and you want to pop champagne, and you want to get excited about it, and you want to do those things. And there's a time for that. But many times, retrospectively, when we have the wisdom of time on our hands, we look back on those things and we realize that they weren't what we thought they were. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship that failed knows that all too well. There was a moment in time where you probably thought this is the one. And now looking back 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years later, you say, thank God. I like to say that in the immortal words of the great Western philosopher Garth Brooks, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. We don't know what's best for us.